Welcome everyone, and we are coming to the end of the session on the series Yes I Can. So today we are going to summarize the series, and the summary also will be in 2 sessions because we have had a very long series going on for more than 2 months now. So this is going to be the first session for the summary, and there will be another session next, that will be the last session the next Wednesday, where there will be the final summary of the entire topics, overview of all the topics. So as we're coming to the end again, we start with this very basic question. This is actually not a question for everyone because everybody, it is all universal for everyone. It is not a universal question, but it's a universal desire, universal want. That what do I want in life? Everybody wants to be happy. Right? There is no other question. Nobody says that I don't want to be happy. There is not a single person on this world who would say, that is not my desire to be happy. I want to be happy. So everybody wants to be happy. Everybody wants to be happy all the time, always. If there is at least some incident in the life which makes you unhappy, somebody tells you something, or for some reason you are feeling unhappy, that's not the state that you like. That's not the state that you want. And that's why you want to, be happy again. And that's when you are happy, we feel peaceful, we feel, quite contented whenever we are happy. So happiness is a kind of a, state which is much more conducive for ourselves. And happiness is not the state that is our natural state. Everybody wants to be successful in life. If someone tells you that you can be happy, but you will not be successful, you will not be known, you will not be able to achieve anything in your life, but you'll be happy. Nobody wants to be that. Nobody wants to just be happy. Everybody wants to be happy and to be successful in life. Means we want to achieve something, we want to gain something, we want to acquire things, we want to have our name, we want to do something constructive. And this is the yearning and the desire for all of us. And this is universal. The third universal want is to have peace of mind all the time. We want to be quiet, peaceful, shanti chahiye humko. Hum काफी बार बोलते हैं, give me peace, let me be quiet, let you also quiet down, let me be quiet. So this peace of mind or shanti, it is also a universal desire. Everybody wants to be quiet, peaceful, happy. And then if somebody tells you that you'll be happy, successful, have a peace of mind, but then you are not doing anything constructive for anybody else around the world, that's not the thing that you like. Everybody wants to be happy, and when you are happy, successful, you have a peace of mind. When you have achieved all these three, then naturally one is inclined to do something for the others, for the family, for the society, for the people at large. And some people would like to be more helpful and what is called as a give back to the society. Whatever we have received so far, we would like to give back to the society. So these are all the universal kind of desires or wants. The big question is, can I achieve all this in my lifetime? That is a big question. I want happiness, I want to be successful, I want to have a peace of mind, I want to make others happy. Can I achieve everything? The answer is definitely the title of our series, Yes I Can. Though it is difficult, sometimes we have not thought about how we can do this, and still we all want to know how we can achieve this. How is it possible to develop all this? And that was all what was this series about. So we come to the summary of this series, and we have discussed and we have talked about many issues, many different subjects. We started with what are the right questions that we need to ask ourselves. How can I be successful? How to set my goals? How to script my own journey? Habits are so important for us. How to change our habits? How to create a healthy lifestyle? Stress management, performance improvement, a mindset of excellence, willpower, developing a willpower, how to be a learner for life, how to be creative, how we can overcome the obstacles in our life, how we can find the true purpose of our life, how we can develop right attitudes, how can I do hard work, and how can I manage my time. So till this 17th part or 17th session, we are going to have summary today. And from 18th session onwards, which was more on the Indian wisdom or the ancient spiritual wisdom of India, we talked about many different aspects, how to take care of our evil desires, how we can do karma yoga, how we can be wise, and how can I discover who am I. So all these will be talked about in the next Wednesday session. That will be the last session for us. So let's start with the first part, the asking the right questions. Though our yearning, our desire, our wanting is to be happy, but quite frequently we end up being unhappy with our life for several reasons. जो हमको चाहिए था वो हमको नहीं मिल रहा है. Something that we desire, something that we need appreciation, we're not getting. Some of the pleasures, some of the comforts, we always try to compare ourselves with others, and all these make us quite unhappy in the life, in the process of life. We are not satisfied with what we have, though whatever we have, if you sit down and relax and think, we have got much better, or we are much more privileged than a large number of people around us. But still, we don't look at those privileges. We probably look at only what we don't have, and that's how the human mind works. So we always crave for more and more. We desire for more and more. And in this process, we want to change people around us. Our family members, we're constantly always wanting to change others around us, so that we think that will make us happy, that will make us more satisfied. So we always, subconsciously, we always believe that the problem is outside, because we are always in the mode of changing the outside. But we rarely feel that the change needed is inside. And when we strive or we try to change ourselves, we find that we are quite resistant to change. For a few days, we may change our habits, our attitudes, but then we again fall back to the same old routine, and it's very difficult for us to change our routine. So can I change? That is the question. And of course, the answer is yes, I can. And this is what we have seen all throughout this series, that a lot of changes are my own responsibility. A lot of changes are something that I can do it. It's under my own purview. It's within my will to change or not. I don't have to be dependent on the outside world. For a lot of other things, we have to be dependent on the outside world. For these kind of issues, we don't have to be dependent on the outside world. It's up to us completely. And these are the famous words of Gandhiji: be the change you want to see in the world. So essentially it tells us that if you want to really see the change in this world, first we have to change ourselves, number one. And once we do that, which is also difficult, which is not easy, but once we do that, we'll be able to see or perceive that the world itself has changed. So it's a very profound meaning, that if you really want to see the change in the world, then you cannot change anybody outside, anything outside. You have to change yourself, you have to change your own perception, your own attitudes, and with that, if you see or perceive the world with a different attitude, with a changed perception, then you will see that the world has changed, right? So that's a very profound understanding. I think that's something that we can all, start looking, thinking at. So how can we change ourselves? Yes, we have to do a lot of work on ourselves. We have to think a lot, we have to plan a lot, we have to do quite a lot, and that's what we are going to see and summarize what we have done so far in all of our sessions so far. And the second most fundamental thing is, don't waste your time trying to change others. It's a waste of time, because you cannot achieve anything in this. The best you can do is you can work on your own self, to change our own self, our own paradigms, our own thinking, by becoming aware of how we behave, whatever our reflexes, what are our reactions to the situations given in the outside world. So in this first question, we ask the right questions. Can I change others? Certainly the answer is no. And the second important pertinent question is, can I change myself? The answer is yes, I can. And this is what all this series and all these talks and all these sessions are about. How we can change ourselves to create a better human being, to create ourselves into a more efficient person, to become a more happy person, a more useful person, and a more peaceful at our mind. So let's come to the second part. Can I be successful? So there is no question. Everybody wants success in life. Everybody wants to achieve. Nobody wants to be a laggard. Nobody wants to be the last benchers. Nobody wants to be not getting marks while you are a student. Nobody wants to do anything less than the best successful person. But have you ever asked ourselves, what is success? How can you define success? It's not easy to define success. And there are many definitions of success given, because success can be different for different people. It's not the same for everyone. So success, in my opinion, as I define success as achieving our goals. And these goals must be worthy goals. We have to think about these goals, whether they are really superfluous, it's going to only benefit me, or it is going to benefit me as well as people around. How is it going to affect the world? How is it going to affect me? How is it going to change my perception about the others? And these goals have to be worthy goals, so it requires a lot of time, effort, energy to think about them. And to do this, we have to know our goals. Most of the times, we don't know what are our goals in life, and we live life the way as it comes. So success can actually be outwardly or worldly. So basically, we live a worldly life, and we accept, understand what we see, and that's about it. Most of the time, most of our life goes in this, because we don't try to perceive beyond what we can see. So this is a worldly success, and most of us, we are yearning for the worldly success, जिसको कहते हैं भौतिक success, outwardly or worldly success, right? But once there are people who have different goals in life. For them, success is not outwardly, but it is more inwardly. It is more spiritual, which is more adhyatmic. They want their more progress and development in their inner spheres of their life, not in the outer spheres of life. The inner spheres are more sukshma, they are more subtle, they require more thinking, they require more of time, energy, because then you are changing your basic understanding of the world, your basic understanding of your own self, which you have been ingrained with and what you are living with. So that is even more difficult, but it is possible, and there are many people in this world who have these kind of goals. So today, in today's talk, we are going to talk about success in the outer world. We are not talking about success in our inner world. Success in the inner world, or becoming wise, or having the right wisdom, understanding, we will talk in the next talk. That is the second part of our session, where we will talk of the spiritual aspect of our, our personality, and how we can achieve that success by, doing karma yoga, understanding the knowledge of what we are. So that is completely beyond. At the moment, we are not talking about those in this session today. So success is a journey. As life is a journey, success is also a journey. It should not be considered as one destination, because even if it is a destination, as we progress in life, as we grow in life, those destinations keep changing. What we would have been happy with or successful with, say a few years ago, 10 years ago, and what we have reached, say 5 years ago, but our targets have been stretched. And now with new targets, we again strive. So it's a never-ending process. And that's why when we live this life, we must live it as a journey. And we should enjoy each and every step of this life. We should learn a lot of new things along the way, try a lot of different things, and make this journey very happy and blissful, so that it keeps the footprints behind when we are no more. So that is the kind of success that we're looking at, where it's an opportunity to learn, it's an opportunity to grow, and to make our life fulfilling, wholesome, and blissful. So how to achieve this success in life? As we said, first step is the goal setting, and the goal setting must be worthy goals. They must be either short, medium, or long goals, long-term goals. They must be elaborate. You must have a very clear vision, must have thought about it quite a lot, and then ideally it should be put down in writing, because then it will become clear. Then finally, once the goals are in place, we have to make a strategy, we have to plan around these goals and create an action plan. And then to action this plan, we have to work very hard, to fulfill these goals. We have to have a lot of commitment, the passion, manage our time accordingly, don't waste our time. And then we can also make some sub goals in our life. And success is a consequence of all the series of accomplishing these small goals in our life. Finally, we need a correct attitude or mindset and the flexibility to change. A lot of rigidity in our mindset will not allow us to mold ourselves and not allow us to change. So this flexibility is very essential. And then we have to keep tracking our goals, because in our life, we do so many different activities that if you don't track important issues, then we lose track of these and then we don't remain on this path. So that's why we have to keep tracking our goals. The third part of the session was on goal setting. And as we said, it's the most important first step to success. If you don't have a goal, then we don't know where to go, what direction we take. Suppose you want to go from Mumbai to Delhi, you get into the train, but you don't know what is your destination. Will you ever get into a train without knowing the destination? No. Then in a journey of life, how can we get into a journey of life without knowing the destination? We need to know where we are heading for. We need to know what we want to achieve, where we want to go, where do we have to get down in life, in the train of life. So all this goal setting is a very important first step to understanding or achieving success. Now, there is an important role of even role models. Since our childhood, when we were, as we grow up, there are several people that we encounter, part of our family, part of our friends, part of our teachers, and a lot of other distant relatives. And then some of them become role models in different aspects, because some people, appeal to us. They are very warm, compassionate, they are very thoughtful. So we like those kind of people, and then they become role models for us, what kind of person we should want ourselves to be. So we should also know the tools that we can use to reach these goals. There are several sadhana or tools that we can use, several things like communication skills, and then there are several life skills that we can develop, use to reach these goals, because this is very important. And for the spiritual aspirant, their tools are quite different. Karma Yoga is also one of the tools to reach the destination. So all these tools we should know what to use, when to use, how to use. And then we have to embark on this journey. If we don't commit ourselves into action, if we are lazy, we don't want to start, then we can't achieve our goals. So we have to start on our plan, and then we have to keep tracking our goals. Essentially, we said there can be three types of goals. Something that can be accomplished within the next 1 year, our short-term goals. Something that we can think about is about 1 to 10 years, our intermediate term goals. And something that we think for say 5, 10 or beyond 10 years, what we want to be, what we want to achieve. And these would be considered as long-term goals. To accomplish, most of the people don't have long-term goals. They don't think 10 years and beyond. But yes, we can always plan. Nobody knows what is our, our age going to be, till what time we are going to be on this earth. Nobody knows. But at least we can plan so that our life can be molded accordingly. And these are very beautiful words which Swami Vivekananda has used to Tishta Jagrata Prapya Varanni Bodhata. And these are words from the Katha Upanishada. This is not the words of Swami Vivekananda, but is popularized by Swami Vivekananda, that once you decide your goal, you rise awake and do your best till you reach your goals. Until you reach your goals, don't get lazy, don't lie down, and just continue your efforts. So there can be several obstacles to the path of our success or our path of our life. And life is full of obstacles, as we have all experienced. And obstacles can be because of several things. One, we don't have clear goals, so we don't know how to take these obstacles. What is our benchmark? We don't know. So we take life as it comes. If we have goals, we have not created adequate plans. So this is also another major obstacle, another problem, because we keep daydreaming, we keep making goals, but we don't create plans, and so that we can fulfill these goals. And then there is a tendency for us to compare ourselves with others all the time. We feel that this person or this, he was with me, now see where he is, he has such a big job, he has such a good wealth, he has such a good income, he has got so many wealth, so many comforts, and where am I? So these are all the things that we compare ourselves with others, and that makes us more unhappy. That creates a lot of obstacles to our success. So we should come out of these kind of tendencies. And then there are people who have goals, who have plans, everything, but they're not prepared for the grind. They're not prepared for the hard work or the commitment that is needed to achieve the goals. There are people who embark on this journey of hard work, commitment, but their mind keeps wavering. They don't have a steady mind. They have one thought, one project they start, then suddenly they feel, no, this is not good enough. Let me do something else. Because we have not thought about it before starting. And that's why we have to think through it when we have already started and we are into it. So this wavering mind people also create a lot of obstacles. And then there are people who are lazy, those are the starting trouble, they have the ignition problem. And then there are people who are lost along the way. They start, they get on the way, they have a good hard work, they are committed, they are passionate, they get onto the way, but then they don't keep track of their journey and they get lost on the way. They don't know where they are going, their goals are not written down, they forget about it, it's not in their mind. The journey is not very clear, so they get lost on the way. They find some other purpose, they just go and slide down onto some other path. So, and then there are people who give luck more importance. They believe that destiny is more important than efforts, and that's why they don't put in their efforts required to achieve the success. They always feel कि भगवान में श्रद्धा है मुझे, वो मुझे पहुंचा देगा, या तो मेरे गुरु मेरे को पहुंचा देंगे, या my teacher will teach me and I'll reach there, or somebody else will take me there. Some graho, nakshatra, some planets, positions, everything will conducively, conspire in such a way that I'll reach my goals. But I don't have to make efforts. If this is the attitude, then we cannot be successful. Because to achieve any success in life, we have to put in a lot of our efforts. We cannot just believe in destiny. Of course, we should believe in destiny, but that is after we have put in all our efforts. So first we have to put in a lot of our efforts, and then we can pray and we can relax and we can think that destiny will help me. Till I put in all my efforts, I cannot leave anything to destiny. So this is a fundamental principle that we must understand. So what are the tools to achieve our goals? Yes, there can be many visual cues that we can paste our goals. We can stick up in our on our study room. We can decide that these are my goals for this week, this month, this year, whatever, short term, medium term, long term. We can paste them, and visually we can get these kind of feedbacks. Or sometimes we can have alarms in our mobile. Today we have this technology which is very good. Suppose your goal is that every day I want to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, exercise for 1 hour. You can start putting alarms for all different goals in your mobile and try and see that you can achieve these goals. Keep specific timing, make a life schedule and use this schedule to keep your life more disciplined. And then keep measuring your goals. And basically achieving goals in our life is like a step-up method. It's like climbing a staircase. As you climb up on the first stair, then you go to the second step. Similarly, you achieve your short-term or sub-goals gradually, and then finally achieving all the short-term goals, you can lead to a long-term goal. On the way, yes, there may be lots of ups and downs. It's bound to be. You should be prepared for it. You should actually welcome them. You should invite them sometimes, because these ups and downs are part of life. If it is going to be a straight line, then there is no life. Only ups and downs means that we are active, we are healthy, we are alive, we are kicking. So in these ups and downs, we should be optimistic. We should find the good in the worst of situations. Always have that kind of a positive attitude that you find good whatever happens in even the worst of situations. And at this point, we should also involve in some self-talk so that we can prop ourselves up. Mindset, attitude is also very important. We should give positive affirmations, positive suggestions to our own self, and this is called self-suggestion. So if you think positively, then you can get up and get through this up and down or the thick and thin period of our life. The fourth talk was about talent, and the question was, is talent inborn? A lot of times we tell people that talented people are born talented, So that is the myth that I'm going to shatter. And this myth of inborn talent is busted by science today. There's a lot of research done. There are some beautiful experiments have been done on this talented people, and this has shown that talent is something that one has to develop. Talent is a skill. It has to be developed. It has to be learned. It has to be practiced, and it has to be mastered. There is no other way. There is no other shortcut. There is no way that we can say that somebody is born talented. Even the most talented people that we see around us today in our country, people like say Sachin Tendulkar or Virat Kohli in cricket, people like Lata Mangeshkar as a singer, people like Amitabh Bachchan in the acting industry, people like Pandit Jasraj ji, a singer, musician, Mary Kom, or sportspersons, P.V. Sindhu. All these most talented, outstanding people who have created excellence in their field have all developed this field. They have not been born with this talent. They have all developed this talent. So they have learned the skill. Learning a skill will need just a few hours of practice. But mastering a skill, going to the pinnacle in that field, in the country or in the world, it requires a lifetime of dedication. It's just a focus, and constantly one has to practice that. So we also discussed this beautiful experiment of Laszlo Polgar in one of our talks. He was an Austrian educationist, and he created an experiment. He married Clara and decided that he will have his children not born of course, but he will nurture them to become a prodigies. So they will shine out and they will have developed excellence in their field. So since childhood, his 3 daughters, Susan, Judith and Sophia, were all homegrown, home educated. They were not sent to the school, but they were trained in chess. And all these 3 sisters, they became world's finest chess players. They were the world grandmasters. They were the world's best chess players. Number 1, number 3 and ranked number 7 in the world. So that was an amazing experiment that Laszlo did, and it showed, it conclusively proved that talent is something that we can develop by sheer practice. And there are several things that are common in all this. So is it a genes or environment? Most of the talented people, in their fields, the common thing is that they start early in life. Generally, they start at the age of about 4, 5, 6. That's the time that they start nurturing their talent. And the parents have a very important role in this, to start nurturing their talent, and then constant practice. The parents' role is also very important, and then they have to find a great coach who's going to actually coach them and make them excellence in their own field. So it's essentially a mind game at this level. This is Michael Phelps, who holds a world record of 28 gold medals, out of which 23 Olympic gold medals in swimming. He is from US, and in 2008 Beijing he got 8 gold medals, and he shared one of the incidents during that event that he actually, his goggles slipped and he had a lot of water coming in, he couldn't see. But even that situation, he had practiced, he had planned for that, and he had practiced for them. So basically these people are the people who work for their passion, for the joy. They have a lot of commitment, they constantly practice, they get the best coaching, and they prepare for the best and the worst case scenarios. So a lot of practice, a lot of different scenarios they prepare for, and that is how they can achieve to this level of excellence in their field. So what we learn from these experiments and from this science is that we can be in control of our life. We cannot think that everything is beyond us. We have to first accept the responsibility for whatever happens in our life, for whatever we are doing, or whatever we achieve in life, whatever we cannot achieve in life. We are responsible. Nobody else around is responsible. So that's the first step. We have to be in control of our life. And then we have to know that we can control our journey of life. It is not that, it's going in and I'm just flowing into the journey of my life. I can actually script my own life. So this is a very big understanding, and we can decide what kind of life we want to live. And we should also try not to change surroundings or people around us, because that is futile. As we already said, there is no way we can do this. We cannot never achieve this. It is wisdom not to try and do this, and not getting disturbed about people not being changed, not being unhappy about people not being changed. Let's focus on ourselves and let's try to change our own self. And in that process, we will see that people around us are also changing, because I change my behavior. People who come in contact with me, they also change their own behavior. So this understanding will come gradually over a period of time. It's a very deep thought. It's not that easy to understand. But once you experience this, once you go through this change, and once you realize the power of this change, then you will feel that it's a paradigm shift. It will create such a tectonic shift in the life or in our thoughts, in our behavior, and in our goals of our life. So the fifth part was, how can I change my habits? And we're all, live our life because of our habits. Whatever we do, we're all conditioned. Small little habits have already developed for every small little thing. You are driving to your workplace, you don't have to think that this is a road you take, because then mind has already developed those kind of shortcuts. Those are called heuristics, and through this heuristics or these shortcuts, we are always flowing into it and we reach there. We don't have to think about it. So a lot of things are unconsciously driven in our life, and the question is, can we change these habits of our life? Yes, it is possible. Yes, I can. It is definitely possible to change my habits. And with this COVID lockdown that has happened in more than 200 countries of the last 2 months, this has called for a great opportunity for introspection, that what are our habits and how can we actually change our habits. So say, for example, somebody goes from India to the US and starts driving the car which is on the other side of the lane. This is a new skill, but the mind is so flexible that it will adapt to this new skill, and in a very gradually or very rapidly he will adapt. And again, that person comes back from the US to India and starts driving again on the left side of the road. Again, he or she adapts very quickly. So this adaptation of the mind is very, very powerful. And in his book, The Power of Habits, Charles Duhige says that there are 3 steps to a process of habit. And if we want to change our habit, we have to be aware of these 3 steps. The first step is the cue. So cue essentially means a trigger through which we respond and we create that habit. So suppose, for example, the cue is like a morning alarm, and then the morning alarm is set at 6 o'clock, we have to wake up, but our habit is that we will just put it off and sleep for another 5 minutes. So that is a routine, that's our routine. And the reward is that it's a feeling. We feel happy, 5 minutes or mila hai humko, just relax hone ke, enjoy in the morning time, not getting up, right? That is the reward that we get. So if you want to change this habit, say for example, what could you do? The trigger is the same, it's an alarm. The trigger is the same. The routine has to be changed. The routine is you stop the alarm and you go to sleep. So how can you change the routine and still get a same reward? That is the key. For that, that is the only way we can change our habit, right? So plasticity of body and mind, as we said, it is the adaptability. It's a new concept, but this has been very well studied scientifically, and it has shown that our body and our mind both are very flexible. And we used to think that children can learn much faster, and as we grow, as we advance in age, our learning process reduces. In the old age, we become very rigid and we can't learn new skills, we can't learn computers, we can't do this. So this is what is ingrained in our mind. But this is not true. Modern science says that new learning can happen at any age, provided one has that attitude to reprogram ourselves, to unlearn, to relearn, and to be an open-minded person. So a lot depends on our attitude. And humans, for that matter, are not different from programmable machines. Just like a computer has a hardware and software which you can change. You can close one software and introduce another. You can update that software. You can advance version of that software. You can put in this body. Similarly, our body is like a hardware. It's like an outer shelf of a computer, and our mind is like a software. So you can actually update your mind, you can change your thoughts, you can change your habits, you can change the patterns. All these are programmable just like machines. And this is not what I'm saying, this is what the modern science and the research says. A lot of research has been done on habit change, how to change management. Basically, it's a science by itself. And we should not forget that human potential is limitless. There is no limit to what we can achieve. Indians have already achieved going to the Mars at the first attempt at 1/10 of the cost at what the other developed nations could achieve. So it is something that we can achieve. It is all what we think, what we can, and if we think that we can achieve. Our human potential is limitless. So coming to how to change our habits. The first is we have to have that in our belief system that yes, we can change our habits. If we don't have this flexibility in our mind, then it's very difficult. First, we have to accept, understand that we can change our habits. The second is the determination that we need to have to change our habits. And this only will come from our inner self. Our willpower is going to be making the difference. And then once you start changing your habit, it takes about 4 to 10 weeks, or it will change, for some efforts to change the habits. And you have to continue and persist till at least 10 weeks are over, because before this, the habit may not change. And the first thing that you can change is to change the keystone habit, which is the fundamental habit. And many of the other habits are dependent on this fundamental habit. So first you change the keystone habit, you have to think, what is your keystone habit? For some people, I think going to bed at bedtime is the keystone habit, because they keep awake for long period of time watching TV. They don't go to bed till 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. I've seen this in my own practice, in my own experience with my patients. I've seen that, people don't go to bed a long period of time, and they waste their time, and then they can't get up in the morning, they can't do the morning routines, they can't do exercise, they are not fresh in the morning, so they don't have sound sleep. So everything starts, the keystone habit is going to bed. So if you change that keystone habit, then all throughout the day, entire day changes. It's a paradigm shift in the entire day. It's not just that one habit determines everything all throughout your day. So this is the way how you can decide, develop, think what is your keystone habit, and then you can change them. And then one has to be aware, we have to take charge, we have to sculpt the right habits, we have to have the goal in our mind, have that firm discipline, determination, and get onto this path of habit change. And then on the way, we must celebrate small wins. Be happy that you have achieved this. At 1 week, you have been able to discipline your mind, and you have been able to do this exercise for every 45 minutes that you have decided, or whatever small goals you have decided on a diet or whatever. It could be any goal that you have decided, and you should keep celebrating the small wins. It is said that the power of crisis we should not waste, and these are famous words of Winston Churchill. And currently we are all going through an unprecedented crisis. That's why it calls for a lot of introspection. In the world over, people have to think, how we have lived so far and how we want to live now hereafter. So this crisis, we must utilize the time available to us to create some better, healthy individual habits, because our jurisdiction is only to our own self. We cannot have jurisdiction to change people around us, to countries, or even the world. We don't have that jurisdiction. But what we can do is develop some good, healthy individual habits. Organizations must think through, they must get together and decide what are better habits. You have to have a balance between growth, prosperity, and on one side, ecology, sustainability, other affordability, accessibility, other goals. Right? Similarly, countries also have to think that how you can balance the progress or development of the country along with the ecological development or the pollution and other environment change or climate change that is affected because of the rapid industrialization and urbanization. So all these countries also have to think what they need to do so that we can balance both these goals as we go ahead after the COVID scenario. So on an individual basis, this is the sixth part. The first step to change of habits will start from creating a healthy lifestyle. And according to me, this is the most important keystone habit. If your lifestyle is not healthy or regular, it's very difficult to change anything else in our life. And that's why we must create a healthy lifestyle. We should create a schedule, and yes, we can definitely do this. And it is up to us how we can do it and how we can, So let's see what is a healthy lifestyle. It's basically a routine schedule. It must be a very kind of a ritual. That you're getting up with this time, this is the time what you do this is the time you do this is the time you go for work, this is the time you come back home, this is the time you have dinner, this is the time you spend with family, this is the time you spend for reading, for writing, whatever are your hobbies. So for everything there must be adequate amount of time. If you want to see TV, you must have a time allotted for seeing TV also. So routine schedule of adequate sleep, a regular exercise schedule, a balanced diet, some form of yoga, meditation is very essential in today's world because there's a lot of stress involved, and developing healthy habits. So exercise is very, very important for us because we are all living in a world which are all, where it's all a sedentary lifestyle. For everything there is a technology available. We have mobile phones with us. We don't even have to get up to answer a phone call. So that's the kind of life that we are living, and that's why we must exercise. And it not only gives feel great feeling by producing endorphins, and then once you get hooked onto this will become like an addiction. You won't do without this exercise schedule because these feel good hormones are released in our body. Fitness keeps our body in shape, and aerobics exercises, they pump more blood to the heart and improves the cardiac circulation and the heart pumping. So it's an aerobic exercise is something like a walking, brisk walking, swimming, cycling, running. Aerobic exercises are like muscle exercises. All these exercises are aerobic exercises. Pranayama are deep breathing exercises which are very important for the lungs. It improves oxygenation, improves the working functioning of the lungs. Gym, you can go to for strength and stamina, endurance. It is very important. You have to clearly define your goals. What is your goal? Is it strength or is it stamina? For most of us, the goal is not strength. We are not bodybuilders. We don't have to go to weightlifting championships. We all need good stamina for our life because life is a long journey and we must develop good stamina. So the core muscles must be properly, your posture properly, and then all the other upper limb, lower limb endurance exercises. One can go to the gym and use some weights also to do this kind of exercises. Yoga is one of the best stretching exercises for joints and ligaments. Yoga asana, basically the asana part of the yoga. And then it also, all these exercises improves our immune system, and of course we are at a much less risk of developing diseases like obesity, hypertension, diabetes, and we are at a less risk of surgery. So exercises play a very, very important role in our life. The current research has shown that body, muscles, mind are something, if you don't use it, then we'll lose it. Means that if you don't regularly exercise, don't use this activity, the same mind, then it is called a disused atrophy. Means that part of the muscle which is not used undergoes atrophy, becomes more lax, doesn't become powerful, becomes powerless. So our body, our muscles and our mind, of course, we have to keep it alert, we have to keep using it. Similarly, our willpower, our memory and our brain power, our intellect, also we must keep using it. So whatever we don't use, suppose you don't use your memory power because now we have phone, all the contacts are inside, we don't remember. So it's difficult for us to remember even a few phone numbers. When there was no mobile phone, that time we used to remember all the phone numbers. So that's how, because we don't use that memory now, that memory is also, we are losing that memory. Similarly, brain power. If you don't use the intellect power, then you'll keep losing it. And for that matter, for any skill that you have, it could be in your profession, it could be in your hobby, it could be in music, singing, anything. Unless we keep up to it, we will lose that skill. And that's why wholesome life is where you keep upgrading, improving, routinely using that skill once in a while, and for that it needs a lot of planning in life. A healthy, balanced diet is very, very essential in life. Carbohydrates in adequate proportions. Proteins are the building blocks of the body. So in adequate proportions, especially for vegetarians, the protein sources are sprouts, protein sources are milk products. Fats give a high calorie, and that's why we must be careful how much fats we are using. Trans fats are dangerous, but all other fats in a mild to moderate amount are quite acceptable if somebody doesn't have a weight problem. Fruits and vegetables are very good because they're uncooked. They are high fiber content, and vitamins and minerals may be needed, especially vitamin B12, D3 are quite deficient commonly, and that's why a wholesome replacement may be necessary. Unhealthy foods are refined sugars, carbohydrates in large proportions, especially the complex carbs, and the processed foods. So all these are very bad, should try and avoid these things. Adequate sleep is very important, depending on the old adage that early to bed and early to rise is something that I follow because this helps me. I'm an early riser and I love that morning time of mine. It's the best time that I have during the day, but it's up to different people to decide. But by and large, it is said, even in our Indian wisdom, that the early morning time is the best time for us because the mind is alert, active, and we can do a lot of creative work, if you want to do some meditation, that's the best time. If you want to really learn something, want to read something, where there's a lot of focus and sharp energy is required, or you want to write something or create something, then that is the best time, the early mornings. So a 7 to 9 hours sleep, depending on what is your sleep schedule. It's very, very important to have good sound sleep, and most of the times it's a keystone habit for our lifestyle. And once to start changing our lifestyle, we should change our time to go to bed. So good sleep is very important. We should avoid nighttime TV, phone, social medias at least 1 or 2 hours before we go to bed, because these blue rays are known to cause more harm. The ultraviolet rays to our, they disturb our sleep pattern. There are several transmitters, neurotransmitters, which are liberated that help in inducing sleep. They are getting affected by using these technologies or the blue screen. So good sleep improves our willpower and keeps ourselves in control of our life. Coming to the stress management, it is very, very important. It's a major problem today, and it's a root to 2/3 of medical problems and lifestyle disorders. So stress is actually emotional. It could be just initially an emotional problem, but then it could affect the body and it can become a physical problem. It can come from any event which happened outside or inside. A thought can just get you feeling frustrated, angry, or nervous. So this is what is stress about. It is our body's reaction to a challenge. And stress is known to cause, it's a protective response. So whenever there is in an adequate proportion, stress helps us, because it improves our focus, it improves our energy, our attitude, improves our alertness, memory, recall, and that's important. And sometimes it helps us to avoid accidents. So for example, an instinct of a stressful instinct will allow us to just put in a brake reflexly by using this, and it will help us. But when this goes beyond a certain point, stress stops being helpful and starts causing major damage to our health, mood, productivity, relationships, and quality of our life, and makes our life miserable. And that's why it's very important to control stress. Health problems caused by stress: depression, anxiety, pains, psychosomatic problems, sleep disturbances, digestive problems, several of them, right from acid peptic disease, gas, indigestion, diarrhea. A lot of problems can happen because of stress. Skin conditions, heart diseases, cardiac problems, weight problems, fertility problems, reproductive issues. A lot of problems can happen because of stress. Affects almost every part of our body. And that's why managing stress is very, very important. We must stay calm, balanced, focused, and in control no matter what challenges we face in life. One may be quiet and calm when we are just, otherwise when there is a situation which is difficult situation, we have to, manage that. That is a time that we need to be in control of ourselves and to remain in a peaceful, non-stressful way. It's not easy. For anybody who is aware knows that we get upset quite frequently, in a short period of time, and we have to be aware to do this. Sometimes talking face to face with a friend can help us relieve stress. Exercise, yoga, meditation helps a lot in the long-term management of stress. Deep breathing exercises, pranayama also would work wonders. And there is something called emotional intelligence, which is now considered to be more important than intelligence quotient or IQ. It is essentially the ability to identify, understand, and use our own emotions in a positive way to relieve stress and anxiety. By communicating effectively with people around us, empathize with others, feel the others' pain, and overcoming the challenges between the teams and diffusing conflicts. So these emotional attributes or emotional intelligence, understanding the emotions of not only our own self, but understanding emotions of other people around us, and to constructively use it in a positive way to mend ways and to avoid conflicts, are something. Empathize with people, to understand them, to be more compassionate, to be more understanding. Something considered a very, very important attribute in today's world, where people have become very emotional and have become very, very touchy. Meditation is considered to be the magic pill for stress management, because it increases our awareness in the present moment. It improves our focus, concentration, and memory. Both it not only improves our decision making, also improves our willpower and makes us disciplined, So it is known that in meditation, from the alpha activity, which is more active during the alert or the awake state, there is more of theta and delta waves that happen on the EEG of the brain during meditation, and this creates more efficiency, more relaxation, and better rejuvenation. So short, brief periods of meditation does reduce stress and anxiety. Even 10 minutes per day, if you can just sit in silence, there is no big thing that we need to do. We just need to focus on our breathing, let our thoughts come and let our thoughts go. If we can just do this, that will also help us a lot. Just 10 minutes. Gradually then one can increase this meditation. There are several ways of doing this, but you don't need to learn much. What we can just practice simply is focus on our breath. Maybe keep our mind focused on this Agya Chakra, or have a focus here on the forehead, and let the thoughts come and let the thoughts go. So meditation is a very powerful means. So once we have taken care of all this, our lifestyle is in place, once we are not at stress, and only then we can talk about better performance and performance optimization in our life. So for that, we need to change our habits, we need to modify our behavior, increase our willpower, achieving excellence, creating the right mindset, having the correct attitude of learning, being creative, motivating ourselves, managing failures, crisis, setting goals, hard work, time management, leadership qualities, and finding a true purpose or a true meaning in life. So these things is going to help us to improve our performance, our efficiency in our life, so that in the given period of time that we have on this earth, we can achieve much more. There are several people who in a short period have achieved tremendously. Some gifted people like Swami Vivekananda, Adi Shankaracharya ji, they lived on this planet for a very short period of time, say maybe 30 or 35 or 40 years at the most. But in that short period of time, they could achieve so much and leave behind the legacy, that something that even people at 80 or 90 years or 100 years, if we live, we cannot leave behind that legacy. So that's because they have a performance optimization schedule. So intelligence without discipline is a waste of human potential. So whatever intelligence we have, whatever emotions we have, but unless our mind is not disciplined, it's all in waste. So we have to discipline our mind. And how to make this, we have talked about this in the spiritual aspect, how to have Indriya Sanyam, Man Sanyam, how to create this. Lord Krishna talks about this in Bhagavad Gita, and we will see this in the next session, on the final session of the summary chapter. Kaizen is a Japanese philosophy which means continuous improvement, and basically it also helps us to change our habits by creating small incremental changes. So this discipline we need to have, and we need to continue this on a long-term basis by perseverance and patience, and this will create massive changes over a long period. This is the basic understanding of the principle of Kaizen. Small changes, long period, there is an exponential increase, and this is because of the power of exponential increase. And so for example, if you even increase any of your activity or performance optimization 1% every day, you are 40 times better in 1 year. So just in studies, for a child, if he improves the study or ability, focus, energy 1% every day, keeps improving, then we can increase for 40 times in a year. Similarly in all the other activities. So now coming to the attitude, and attitude is so important. Having an attitude of excellence, a very, very broad, open mindset is very important for creating any fundamental change in our life. So excellence is the quality of being outstanding, of extremely good and being the best in the field. And we should try to create this excellence. Whatever we are doing, it's better to do it in the best possible way, by creating the best, trying to get the best outcome of what we are doing. So that is an excellence, an attitude which we should all develop, whatever we are doing, our profession, our hobby, just walking, simply breathing, it could be anything that we are doing, but we should do it in the best possible way. The mindset is basically an established set of attitudes held by someone and which arising out of the person's worldview. So every person has a different perception. For a glass which is half filled with water, somebody will say half empty, somebody will say it is half full. So that is how we are tuned to see. Either we may label it as negative, we may label it as a positive attitude or mindset, but essentially these are different perceptions and everything is relative. So an attitude can be positive or a negative, based on evaluation of people, objects, events, activities. And excellence should be the habit. We should try to create excellence. So that is the best possible way. And habits are automated behaviors that brain develops to save energy, takes the effort of the routine so we can focus. We already seen this power of routine schedules. A disciplined mind is important. Excellence basically requires 3 ingredients. The first is what is called as a deliberate practice. That means you have to practice that particular subject in the best possible way. We have to first learn it, to do it in the right way, and then we have to practice it to keep doing it in the right way. So that is what is called as a deliberate practice. Second is motivation. And unless there is motivation, we won't keep the practice. And that's why we have to keep the motivation. For some, the motivation comes from outside, but the best motivation is that we are motivated from within. We are self-motivated people, and these are the most successful people. And then coaching. We must get the good teachers or good coaches to tell us or teach us. We should ask the right questions to them to clear our doubts that are in our mind. Most of the learning has to be done by our own self. It's our responsibility. Our coach, our teacher can only guide us, can only show us the way, but we have to walk actually on that way. So an attitude or a mindset can be an abundant mindset. It's a vast mindset, means that person believes that there is enough resources for everyone, doesn't believe that there is a scarcity. The second is a scarcity mindset. This person believes that there are very limited resources, and that's why there is a competition in between the people. And that's why they will try to snatch things from others, or they will try to, you must have seen that there are certain situations during the lockdown, the people just flood the supermarkets together and to get all the work or to get all the consumables in their home, because they have this scarcity belief. They feel that there are very few resources, and I should get all those at my home and should store them. So this is a scarcity mentality. An abundant mentality is a vyapta or a vyapak, abundant. There is abundance for everyone. That is a kind of understanding, and this could be on an individual basis or collectively. Even as a country, there can be a scarcity mentality between countries. There can be a mentality of vastness. Some countries are quite large-hearted. Some countries are quite egoistic, and they have a very, they want to rule the world. They want to keep the power to themselves. So that is the mindset that different countries have. In his book Mindset, Dr. Carol Dweck talks about the state of mind, how it looks at things, and how it gets fixed over a period of time. And this is how it determines our attitude. And this can be helpful or it can be detrimental in our journey of life. And this mindset works in a very, very subtle way. We don't even realize how it works and how our belief systems work in our mind. So there can be a fixed mindset. That means we are not flexible to change, and we can't be changed with efforts. But the growth mindset person, he wants to continuously evolve over time. He wants to keep learning. He wants to keep pushing his limits. He wants to experiment with new things, wants to improve skills, take risks, and challenge his own self. So that is a person who is called as a growth mindset person. And a mindset can be cultivated like any habit. That's the best news. For a person who is a fixed mindset person, if he gets aware and he wants to become a growth mindset, he can also become a growth mindset person. A fixed mindset person doesn't want to learn new skills because there's a lot of fear of failure. He thinks, I cannot do this, I cannot change. But a growth mindset person will try to continuously experiment, want to learn something. So this mindset also can be cultivated like any other habit. So that's a good news for us. Now for our parents, it is very important how we mold the mindset of our child. When we praise our child for the effort that the child has done, then that inculcates a growth mindset into the child. But if you praise the child for the ability mindset, then the child becomes more like a fixed mindset child. For example, the child has worked hard and has got good marks in the exams, and as a parent, when we appreciate the child for any little thing, when we appreciate the child, we should appreciate or praise the child for the effort that the child has performed. So if you praise the child by saying that you worked very hard, it was good that you got good marks, or you scored well in this exam, or you did well in this sport, then you are praising the child for the effort, and that will create the growth mindset. The child feels that the efforts are important and I must put in the efforts. But if you praise the child for the ability part, you say that you are gifted, you are born, gifted, or you are lucky that you got good marks. So this is the ability part of the mindset. And if the child gets this kind of feedbacks, that the child feels that efforts are not that important, my abilities, I have been born with this talent, I have this ability, I have this gift, so that's why I don't need to put in so much effort. And so these labels like gifted or talented are quite counterproductive and should not be much used in child grading. As a parent, the parent must focus on the efforts that the child puts. Of course, you can say that this is your good ability, this is not so good ability, you can develop this ability, but the focus must be on the efforts that the child is putting. So when the child makes mistakes also, one should praise the effort irrespective of the outcome. Most of the time what happens is, when the child makes mistake, the parents say, oh, why did you do this? I told you, you shouldn't have done this. And that's why, because you did this, this is what happened. Right? Instead, if we focus on the effort, we say, okay, you tried your best. It's okay, we can fail. Next time we should try and we may become successful. So if we try to rear the child from this perspective, I think what this book has shown, Dr. Carol Dweck has beautifully shown how this understanding of this concept can help in nurturing the child's mindset, so that the child doesn't develop a fixed mindset but develops or becomes an individual as a growth mindset person. The 10th part was on controlling the addictions. Addictions are essentially strong habits. They can be healthy, they can be unhealthy. They are usually harmful when we call as addictions. They have a very strong association, and sometimes they cause physical dependence. And if you leave this, then there can be some kind of a withdrawal reaction as well. So addictions can be alcohol, smoking, tobacco. These are all the common addictions, drugs. But even there can be addictions to dietary food, intake like chocolates, ice creams, stress. One can have a personality which is addictive, so that they are constantly under stress. Internet, phones, TVs, these are all, today video games. All these are addictive things, and there can be a person who is addicted to any of these. In today's world, technology addiction is a big threat facing mankind today, because we are all engulfed by technology. We are constantly in the phones while we are walking or driving. We are on our computers, desktops, laptops, or tablets all the time. We are glued to televisions whenever we have very little time, or on our phones. We order food from Swiggy, Zomato outside as much as we can. Thankfully, for the last 2 months, it was not an issue because it was not allowed. And then this all is dependent on the condition called the power of the variable reward. It's basically because it gives us an unpredictable reward. So every time you look up on social media, it gives you some different something, some new message which you have not expected. And that's why this unpredictability as a reward, and the neurological craving that happens, similar to that when we receive wrapped gifts, that kind of craving happens in the mind. So this leads us to, playing these video games again and again, or using the phones, or going to social media again and again. So we have to be aware of how we can handle this in today's world. This is very important, how mind should not be addicted to this. We should use this like our slave. All our technologies should be like, we should be the masters of this technology. They should not control us, but we should control them. We should know when to see our phone. We should know when to see our TV, when to use computer, what is the purpose, for how long we want to use these technologies. And that should be the way we should live this life. Then only we can have time for our own progress, our own change, our own improvement, our own upliftment. So why addiction? So most of the addiction that we have today, or for that matter, any activity that we do today, is either to have pleasure or to avoid pain. For whatever we do today, I'm talking here, you are listening here. Probably I am talking here because I want to have some pleasure in having to share it with people. Maybe I want to have some avoiding some pain. That may be the purpose. So these are all the purposes for which we do all our activities. And only by changing the perception, by changing the attitude. So that is the only way we can get over to this addiction, by changing the perception of that particular substance and changing the attitude towards that substance. And from a short-term perspective thinking, if we can think from a perspective of long-term, or we can replace this, or we can withdraw this addiction, right? And how do we de-addict? So we de-addict from a mindset of instant pleasure or gratification from that addiction. When the person does not have the ability to think long-term consequences of that addiction, from that you have to change to a mindset of delaying the gratification of that pleasure, and one has to think of the long-term hazards of that addiction, especially tobacco, alcohol. We explain to our patients what are the long-term consequences if they keep doing this. Even if it is in a small amount, it gradually starts with a small amount. A lot of people try to, analogize or saying that, try to fundamentally say that, it's only that we take very small amounts, we take it only occasionally, but it all starts occasional small amounts, and then it gradually increases and creates a lot of problems in the long term, so that's why getting off over our addictions is very important. And for getting out of our addiction, what we need is this strong muscle called the willpower. So like any other muscle, willpower also can be cultivated. That's great news, that we can improve our willpower at our own will. So that is also beautiful news. The more you train your willpower and more you use it, the more it grows. Like any other muscle, like any other body, mind, everything, willpower also keeps growing as you use it more and more. And the self-awareness is the first step, or the first key, ability to resist instant gratification. So we should build a new routine and stick to it. And a good night's sleep also, willpower gets fully recharged. So managing addiction requires counseling. A psychologist, and the role of counselor is the most important. Support group activities for alcoholics, there is the Alcoholics Anonymous group. And then pharmacotherapy, substitutes, medications can help. And then psychotherapy, behavior change by cognitive behavior therapy can help these people to get over their addictions. Unless we get out of these addictions, it's very difficult to do anything meaningful about our life. So we first have to control and conquer these little things, which are not little things. These are quite difficult actually. Managing our lifestyle, managing our stress, managing our addictions. So once we get over this and get into a positive mindset, positive attitude, an attitude of excellence, so then subsequently we can develop some higher attitudes like a learner for life, right? So it's not just improving, just for improving performance, but it's important for our survival. Because in today's world, it's a world full of information technology. Every information is at the fingertips on the internet. So we have to know how to filter this information, how to learn, keep learning from the right source. Because even internet and social media have lot of kind of useless information, which are not authentic. So we must learn how to get authentic information from the internet, how to get authentic information or scientific information from the social media, because otherwise our life will just end here. So we have to learn from everyone, even from the nature, learn from our new brain. Learning helps to create new brain connections, and visualization techniques help us in learning. So a lot of today learning techniques can be video-based learning, and that's why audio-video-based learning techniques are quite useful. A master coach can guide us. For stages of learning, there are 4 stages of learning as described by Noel Bursch. The first step is called the unconscious incompetence. We don't know that we like this skill. The second is a conscious incompetence. We become aware that we like this skill. So we try and improve that skill or learn that skill. And then the third step is we become consciously competent about this skill. So we have to concentrate at each step while we learn this skill. So for example, when you are learning to drive a car, you are very, first you don't know that you don't know. Second, you become aware that you don't know. The third step is that you know that you don't know, but you're still trying to learn. So you concentrate on each little steps. And finally, once you are mastered, you know how to drive a car, it becomes unconscious, you are competent. So the skill becomes part of you. You don't have to, give a lot of focus energy. You could be talking on the phone and you could be driving the car. You don't have to, focus so much when you're driving the car. So that is a stage of unconscious competence. This is true for any learning. It could be a musical instrument, it could be a professional skill, it could be any skill that you're learning off the campus or outside the campus. Learning versus mastering. So learning is a skill which requires about 20 hours of a cognitive part where you understand and read, and then there is an associative part where you practice by feedbacks, And then there is an autonomy. When you come to a level where you are at autonomy, in the sense that you don't have to think much and you can perform. And then for mastering the skill, it needs a lifelong commitment. And that is only possible by the joy that this gives. And we must surround ourselves with inspiring people. Only then we can be a good learner. Similarly, memory is also very important for learning. And memory also can be strengthened with effort and repetition. Keep repeating the same thing, you can improve your memory, and it can be learned and improved with practice. And many tools and techniques are also available to improve memory. There are several classes and coaching centers available to improve memory. So anyone who stops learning becomes old. And I love this statement. It's a beautiful statement. And that's why we have to be cultivate this attitude of learning all our life. So anyone who keeps learning always stays young. Surround yourself with young people who keep learning, who keep stimulating, who are enthusiastic. And the greatest thing in life is to keep your mind young. And these are beautiful words of Henry Ford, which I believe that will keep us always young. Creativity is again an act of turning new and imaginative ideas into reality. It is characterized by the ability to perceive the world in very different ways, and it involves two processes, thinking and producing. If you have an idea and you don't act on them, then you are imaginative but you are not creative. So creativity involves thinking, and then you have to get into the action mode and you have to create that product. Humans are the only animal species this is bestowed with this creative imagination, and the problems of the modern world require creative thinking. Original insights, we can't change it with the old sense or the way of thinking in the old era. We can't change the current problems of our life. So creativity is a skill which can be learned, which can be enhanced by practice like any other skill. Willpower, memory, creativity, all these skills can be learned and improved by practice. And we should let go of the inhibitions. The fear of failure is the main inhibition that comes in the way of creativity. And we should put creative ideas into practice and use creativity in our daily life. So how to be creative? We should get together from different disciplines. When people from different disciplines get together, there are sparks of creativity which happen. And it starts with a curiosity, questions. So ask questions, keep asking questions. Observe carefully, as if you have never observed, never seen it, as if you're seeing it for the first time. And ask the 5 why questions, 5 whys, and you'll reach the root cause of the problem. Sometimes you have to swim against the tide and ask, why not? Why can't I do it? And reframe a challenge from a new perspective. And these are the ways you can enhance your creativity by relaxed engagement, taking nature walks or spending time in the nature. Complete attention is not a state for creative ideas. You have to take your attention away from there and let your mind wander in unexpected places. And with that relaxed engagement, some creativity will come from our mind. So you don't need to be focused all the time. You have to leave your mind free for some time to develop it creatively. So it's a very common experience for us. When we're doing something intense focus, we just leave it there, go to the next job, and when we come back, we'll have some fresh idea. But when you come back the next day, you'll have some fresh idea. So serendipity is also closely associated with creativity. Serendipity means an accidental discovery. You started to do creativity or innovation in one field, but you end up finding something else what you have not started with. So that is called serendipity, and many of the inventions in the world have happened by serendipity. Similarly to discovery of the penicillium, that fungus mold, when Alexander Fleming was working on this, and he observed that even the bacterial colonies were getting affected by this mold. He thought that this could be an antibacterial. He never started to search for an antibiotic or an antibacterial in the molds or the fungus, but it was an accidental discovery. And we need to get out of our comfort zones and wander into unknown territories to become creative. Managing failures are most important. There is no creativity without failures. If you want to be creative, you have to accept, reward failures, and then you have to fail fast, fail early, so that you can succeed faster. And do a lot of research. Today there is internet, you can do a lot of research so that you can improve your starting point, so that you don't reinvent the wheel and don't create the same new products again and again. The other side of creativity is important. It needs a lot of patience, a lot of perseverance, internal motivation, a journey can be very lonely, but you have to have the right attitude and the mindset, and then failures will ultimately lead to success. If you remember Thomas Alva Edison's famous statement, 99 times I learned how not to make a bulb. For that one time he used to make the correct bulb. So that is creativity. Overcoming obstacles. Yes, there will be several obstacles in your path. It will be part of your life with your attitude, and we learn from these events that actually they are the path. They don't block the path. It is something like an obstacle race or a hurdle race, that when you see a hurdle on a race, then you just jump over it and get to the finishing line. Similarly, whenever obstacles come, you don't get stuck up there. You don't get held up there, but you have to just jump through and reach your finishing line. So obstacles can actually be a stepping stone to success. For most of the inventions in the world have happened with lots of failures and obstacles. And they will put in some fresh ideas and energies, and you see it as an opportunity to learn and grow rather than a roadblock. Learning and growing is more important than success. As you said, the life or the journey is more important than the destination. And because there are so many obstacles which are there in the path, you should always be prepared for the plan B or the plan C in whatever you are doing in your life. But let me tell you that the true enemies are not outside us. They are the other side of our own personality. Our emotions which keep us down, which we have never tried to modulate or balance. Our strong beliefs, convictions, our systems, our rigidity, our inflexibility of our mind, our misconceptions, myths, and all these are our biggest enemies, and we should work on them. So failures teaches the best lessons, which allows us to focus on what is most important. It is a stepping stone to success, and failures will only make skillful warriors or sailors, And we should believe in the higher power. Something God will always help us. Whenever we try to do our best, God will help us. So with this, there was a Samudra Manthan story in the Indian wisdom, ancient wisdom, which also has lots of lessons. I think time is getting short, so I'll be wrapping up. But there are many lessons learned from the Samudra Manthan story. That first, there'll be poison, but then you keep churning, and then there'll finally be nectar. You use your team, and the fruits of the churning, you have to share them with everyone and get divine help whenever, use diplomacy and tact whenever required. So how to find a true purpose in your life? There can be several, purpose channelizes all our energy, goals, desire to find a meaning in our existence, and that would define the purpose of our life. So what actually matters in the end, and this is a beautiful book, 7 Habits Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, where he says you can write your own obituary and see that there are no regrets in your life, that you act in such a way that there are no regrets. And the clear purpose ensures that the small stuff does not rule your mind. So we don't get affected by small little things, and we remain happy. In this book on Happy Life by Martin Seligman, again, he said that there are 3 types of life. There are people who live a pleasant life with all the comforts, and then there are people who lead a good life where they use their strengths, remove their limitations. Then there are people who live a meaningful life where it's not just a good life, but also they contribute to a larger purpose of life, which is much larger than your own self. Right? So life is a journey. You must enjoy this journey. Practice gratitude daily. True purpose gives a meaning to life, and it helps the contribution to the society and also leaves a legacy. Attitude, we have already seen whether it's a positive, negative, extrovert, introvert, and we shared a story of Soichiro Honda, actually, whose entire manufacturing plant was destroyed in the World War II. He's the person who started the Honda company, and then he said, "Oh, thank God I could start all over again." And then he says, he worked and became such a successful person. So our attitude depends on several factors: our own family belief system, society, culture, economics. And we also saw this Chinese bamboo tree story, where you have to keep nurturing this bamboo tree for say 4 or 5 years, and then only after 5 years it will come out of the ground. So you need a lot of patience and perseverance to keep watering these plants every day for 4 to 5 years. And then suddenly when they shoot up, they come out of the ground, then they will rise rapidly to almost 80 feet in about 6 days. So there's a rapid growth, so you need to have this faith. It's a beautiful story from the Chinese bamboo tree. and we should not remain in our comfort zones. The only way to grow is get out of our comfort zone. We are all so comfortable in our comfort zones. We don't like to get out, try something new or experiment something new, but we must consciously make it a habit to get out of our comfort zones. So tips to change our attitude or act with purpose. Use setbacks to improve your skills and seek those positive attitudes. Don't take life very seriously and forgive the limitations of others and say thank you often. What is the time? So hard work, overnight success is something that we hear from people, but there is nothing like overnight success. It's all because of years of hard work and deliberate practice. And consistency is very, very important. Only hard work is important is what something we have been told from our childhood, but let me tell you that it is a myth. So hard work, definitely there is no substitute for hard work. These words of Thomas Alva Edison are true, but it's not just the hard work that is important, but it must be smart work. And smart work means that your effort is important, but effort where you are making, whether you are going towards your goal or not, that is important, and that makes all the difference. So the drive or the motivation is very important. We should all be internally motivated and positively motivated, right? The planning, as we discussed, and the course of action, and then plotting your progress, keeping the track is also very important. But actually what is most important is the grind, that work actually, which becomes quite fun and exciting, but sometimes it can become even tedious and stressful and discouraging. So here, how you handle the ground will determine whether the winners or you become a quitter. And this beautiful statement I love is, winners don't quit, quitters don't win. This statement has helped me. It was some of the most difficult times in life to shape up my life and what I am today. So this is something is a very useful to remember. Winners don't quit and quitters don't win, especially when the grind gets stressful, gets discouraging, tedious. Remember that you have to continue with efforts and energy. And then finally, we all in this process have to give, in this hard work, in this hard life, to give a lot of sacrifice, not only our own personal time, family time, our hobbies, and a lot of things. And whether it is worth this sacrifice or not. So sometimes it will strain our relationships, our finances, our comfort levels, and that is a real test whether we really want to get onto this path and achieve. And finally, what are the payoffs or the rewards that we achieve when we get onto this path? We keep celebrating the wins, and these rewards sometimes may not be tangible, but they may be intangible, especially in our medical profession. We get a lot of intangible rewards in terms of blessings, in terms of good wishes, in terms of people telling us such good stories and being happy, equating us and putting us at a different pedestal. So all these intangible rewards are there in the medical profession. Sometimes the rewards are not just tangible or something that can be counted upon. So smart work with discipline, with self-control, with awareness, right direction, right time, balance, and time management. So time management is very, very important. All of us have the same amount of time. And if somebody says that I have no time to do this, it means, I always say that I have no priority. Unless you have a priority, you won't find the time. And that's why you have to have a priority very clearly defined. And we must focus on productivity and identify our purpose. And this calls for a lot of self-introspection. So time management is essentially a misnomer. The challenge is to manage our own self against time. And in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey says that we can work ourselves in the 4 quadrants. Most of the times we are working in the quadrant 1, urgent and important things, and sometimes even in quadrant 4, which is not urgent and not important. These are time wasters. So from this we have to come out and focus ourselves in quadrant 2, which are important but not urgent. So these are planned work, and 3, which are urgent but not important. So this is where we can actually delegate and start moving further. So this is how we should keep our mind in the focus in what quadrant we are living during the part of the day. So time management is essentially life management. There is this beautiful Pareto principle which says that 80% of tasks can be completed in 20% of time, and 20% of tasks will take up 90% of your time. If you sit through and think in your life, this will come true in many, many different aspects of our life. And this principle can be used to sort out our tasks in priorities. We can assign the first category more priority, because you are spending just 20% of time, but you're actually getting 80% of your results or your rewards. Muda is a waste elimination, identify your time wasters, and Muda is a Japanese word. It's a Kaizen philosophy, and you make a not to do list, not to waste time, not to do things, and a lot of Muda has to be eliminated. So finally, I end today's session with this statement from Steve Jobs, who was one of the most outstanding entrepreneurs of the last 50 years, who created products and business models beyond what somebody could fathom. And he says, your time is limited, and so don't waste this time living somebody else's life. Try to do the most of your life. Try to accept the responsibility of your life and do the best you can, because a lot of things are under our control. We feel that we are helpless in several situations, but that's not true. We have control of a lot of situations. What I have talked about, almost 17, 18 aspects of life. It is our own willpower, our own free will that we can utilize, we can use, we can work, we can change, and we can achieve something which we could not have in otherwise. Of course, destiny is important, luck, chance, all these definitely the right moment, the right time, you're at the right time at the right moment, and then something in the circumstances gets together to help you out. All these things are important, but our efforts, our energies, our own, mindset, our own Dhrada Nishchaya, that is our firm determination that we want to achieve this, and with a firm determination, we should all say that yes, I can achieve this. If we have any doubt in our mind at any point of time, we should always say, yes, I can achieve this. Let me try. You should at least try. If you don't achieve it, you will at least learn in the process. You will be wiser, you will be a learner, you will have grown, you will have those kind of rewards. So even that may be a loss from a perspective of not achieving your goal, but then in the process you gain a lot of things which may not be tangible at that point of time, but it helps you to grow in your life. So thank you very much for the session on the summary of the first session summary of the parts 1 to 17 of the series Yes I Can. For the parts 18 to 24, we shall have another summary session next time. Thank you very much.